So here we are again at the same intersection, only this time we are now doing a preliminary design road safety audit. So the project team has taken my concept design audit findings and they've gone away and they've been doing all this other work designing the proposed improvements, and they've come up with this preliminary design, which is there you can see it, it's all very preliminary. This image is actually taken from a promotional brochure which was sent out to the Monash University community before this intersection was upgraded. But it is all sort of a preliminary design. It doesn't have too much in the way of details, but you can start to see how some of these bits and pieces are going to fit together. And we've gone from just a concept of putting in a slip lane to actually a drawing now, which shows where the slip lane is going to be and how the lane configuration is going to work. So again, we'll work through our list of things to do. So we select the team, it's James Reynolds Auditors again, and we go out there and we do the site inspection and all that sort of stuff, and then come back with a report. And you can see this time the findings are just a little bit more detailed because we have a little bit more detail. And we're again, very much talking about, improving things for eastbound cyclists, putting in some green paint maybe to prevent this sort of merge problem here, which we sort of identified briefly in the concept design, but now we've got a little bit further on. And then moving our way through the various things, there's still these three same sort of things, but you can see now there's a bit more detail to our findings in the same way that there's a bit more detail to our proposed design. Moving on, we're going to skip over detailed design because I don't have detailed design plans for this site. But I think you can probably tell exactly what it would be. It would be a very similar process, but now it would be really talking about detailed stuff. And so now I've moved on to the next stage of road safety auditing during roadworks traffic management. So I actually just happened to be out there when they were doing this job, and you can see I've taken a few photos of what's been going on site. Maybe you can have a quick look and see what you see as being the potential road safety hazards. I think some of them are pretty obvious in this photo. So first of all, I've said, yeah, there's no pedestrian crossing provided for pedestrians on the north side of the intersection. So that's that first photo there on the left. So you come to the intersection as a pedestrian walking on the north side of the road, and now what? Where am I supposed to go? The traffic management here doesn't appear to provide at all for pedestrians, and so there's a potential for a pedestrian to get hit by a vehicle when trying to negotiate this intersection during the roadworks traffic management scheme. And then again, looking a bit further on down the road, you can't quite see it very clearly in this photo, but obviously there is a large drop-off between the edge of the traffic lane and the works where that digger's operating. There's a couple of bollards there, but if you drove your car off the edge of that, not only would you hit someone who's working in that space, you'd probably also make a right mess of the place and potentially be in a lot of danger yourself. So I'm recommending that they consider installing temporary crash barriers. And the phrase I've used here, this may be hazardous to errant vehicles. You see that phrase a lot because most of the hazards out there on the road network are things that people can crash cars into. And so we're saying that, yes, people do occasionally not drive within the traffic lane. And so we should be making allowances for the fact that there shouldn't be an immediate hazard right next to the edge of the road that is going to have serious implications for them. We should be trying to get rid of those things, design them out, and so yeah, try to avoid having anything that may be hazardous to errant vehicles on your site or on your designs, because you'll get a road safety audit finding which is, hey, maybe you should do something about that and increase some separation or put in some crash barrier or do something to treat the hazard itself, maybe get rid of that large drop-off by filling it in. Obviously, some of these things are things that you need to address by providing crash barriers, and some of these things are like removing a tree or removing that fence post that you would have seen in the earlier photo in this lecture set is something that you can just remove, and that provides much better outcomes. Okay, now we're going to switch gears a little bit and do a post-construction audit. I'm actually going to go outside and wander along, and we'll have a look at the site as it is currently now.
So here we are out on the site. Hopefully you can hear me over the sound of the car noise. But basically put on my safety vest and I'm out to have a bit of a look around. And so let's just grab a few highlights while we're here. So first things first, looking to the north, I'm not entirely certain how a cyclist who's on the road is supposed to get onto this shared path. Maybe across that driveway there, but still doesn't look like it's particularly well connected. And then if you have a bit of a look down here, you can see the old bicycle lanes, but clearly the condition of the pavement there is very poor. Definitely a hazard for any cyclist there who might inadvertently come off their bike. Moving a bit further down here, you can see that, yep, we've definitely increased speeds around that left-hand corner. And yeah, I'm really not very sure how a cyclist is supposed to turn right at this intersection. They're going to have to merge across the traffic. It could be a bit of a merge conflict here. So yeah, potentially hazardous to cyclists, that area through here. Yeah, there's not really a huge amount of provision for pedestrians at this intersection. Again, I think there was a drawing that showed a zebra crossing across this intersection here, but that doesn't appear to have been provided. Potentially high speeds of vehicles coming around this corner. If I want to cross this here, I really can't quite see around those trees to see whether it's safe or not. Oncoming traffic's probably not going to be able to see me. We've potentially created a hazard here. Oh, there's someone coming immediately. Jeez. That's pretty quick. Yep, you'd know about that. So while it has improved things for traffic, I don't think this has been a particularly great outcome for pedestrians. Again, yes, not all that much in the way of safety for pedestrians crossing at this intersection. And here we go. Looking that way, you can see that any cyclist travelling this direction through the intersection, so from behind me, will have to negotiate some sort of crossing to get across to the left side of the road as they try and enter the university. And they're going to have potentially moderate speed cars doing 20, 30, 40 kilometers an hour suddenly appearing on their left in this added lane. So those are the sort of main things that I'm picking up from this intersection just from being on site here for a couple of minutes.